What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for coming back to Cobra TV, and it just keeps coming. It just keeps coming. There's so much good news today. So much. Last night was able to watch somebody play No Man's Sky next, and I am blown away, and you will be too. You will be too. Forget what you know about No Man's Sky. There are new resources in this game that we've never seen before. Different resources to refill your life support with, and I saw a player. I saw the player's avatar standing next to some plutonium that was 5 to 10 times the size of his character. Plutonium, unless they've changed it to where it's not plutonium anymore, but it was plutonium, and it's exactly what we've been mining this entire time. But it was towering over top of him, and I've seen him standing next to the exocrafts, and they are massive compared to he is, especially the big one. The big one's like 2 stories taller than the guy, and so it's amazing. There's some things that didn't change, but the things that didn't change are dramatically improved. Textures, the shading, the scale of the game is absolutely amazing. I can't even begin to tell you how amazing it is. But I was blown away. I'm literally watching this and shaking. I'm not the kind of guy that gets ruined by seeing spoilers or anything like that. I seek out spoilers. I look for spoilers because it doesn't spoil anything for me. But anyways, I'm not, all right, back up the bus. Let's talk about the things that are in the news. We've got a brand new website going up called Galactic Atlas, and I can't wait to talk about that. We have an interview where Sean Murray described what happened during the launch. We're going to make that into a separate video. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We have weekly events that are going to be happening that we can all participate in. And there's going to be some kind of way to earn units through these things. It's community involvement. We're going to be sent to certain places, and we're going to be doing these weekly events together. And they're going to be announced on the galacticatlas.com website. That's going to go live at some point in time today. And as soon as it does, we'll be making a video on that too. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's go ahead and read this Eurogamer article here. Look. Like, I cannot believe what I seen last night. All right, you guys are going to be happy. You're going to be excited. This is what I seen last night was far better than the trailer. Way better than the trailer. I just can't believe the things that are in this game. This is not the game we've been playing for 2 years. Absolutely not the same game. There are aspects of it that are kind of, it's like seeing something that was PS3 and skip ahead in the future, and this is a PS5 or a PS6 game. It's amazing. Amazing. You guys are going to be amazed. Trust me on this. Okay, all right, so let's go over this. Right now, this is from the Eurogamer article. There's a lot of good stuff in here. It says, right now I've only had around 30 minutes with this latest version, so it's impossible to fully appreciate its scope. But speaking as someone that's occurred hundreds of hours with the game and its 3 previous updates, it's already clear that next marks a significant new chapter for No Man's Sky. It does. The first most striking aspect of Next is, unsurprisingly, its visual overhaul and its scale, dude. The scale is what really, we have all been saying, the scale's messed up, and it is fixed. It is fixed, and it's what dramatically improves this game, let alone all the other stuff that does as well. Unsurprisingly, it's a visual overhaul, and as the recent trailer will attest, is genuinely remarkable just how different No Man's Sky looks. It's massively improved lighting, better atmospheric effects, and increased draw distances. Yes, I can attest to that. Alongside a gorgeous new cloud rendering system. We all seen that. I can't wait to see it. Improved textures, better water, and optional new third-person camera, and more to combine to create a much more subtle aesthetic. Perhaps okay. Slow down, Cobra. Slow the heck down. Perhaps more than anything, though, and I know this game's going to leak today. There's going to be gameplay today. I guarantee it, somewhere on YouTube. So be careful if you don't want if you don't like spoilers. But if you do, I imagine someone's going to be playing it today because people have it, and it's on the disc. Okay, continuing. Sorry. It's the newfound sense of scale. Oh, there he goes. See, I haven't even read this yet. That impresses, with the game now sporting a more Earth-like planetary generation system, mountains tower above undulating valleys, populated by looming trees, larger architectural props, and notably improved fauna. Let me tell you something. This dude last night was standing next to a mountain. Yes, a mountain. Like, this mountain was, it wasn't a hill. This was a mountain. It was so amazing. Creatures feature more nuanced animations, improved AI, and a broader range of sounds, all which help sell the illusion of life just that little bit harder. Man, you guys. Oh. But Hello Games changes go beyond more aesthetic tinkering, and it's surprising just how much has in this last year been tweaked and enriched. It'll require a lot more time to properly gauge the true impact of Next, but here are a few early observations. The entire opening of No Man's Sky has been once again reworked to make for a more accessible introduction to the game's sometimes opaque systems, which have only grown more complex through the previous 3 major updates. It's really cool how a part of it opens up. You'll see, it's kind of cool. It's nothing like, whoa, wow. It's just really kind of cool. Well, I'm not going to spoil it. Your first task is still to gather resources to repair your downed ship, and to be clear, the fundamental loops that drive the game haven't been changed, even if the depth of activities around them currently. Well, there's a phone call right there. Let's keep going. Your first task is still to gather resources, prepare your down ship, and be clear that the fundamental loops that drive the game haven't changed, even if the depth of the activities around them certainly have. But even in the early moments, there's ample evidence of sheer breadth of next additions, such as the introduction of a refinery, which enables the creation of new resources out of those mined from planets. Crucially, No Man's Sky's structural reworking gives much faster access to some of its more interesting tools. Now, not only do you get a ship in the opening hour, you're given access to the likes of the terraformer, enabling you to shape the Earth at will. Useful for carving out spots for bases, for escaping a planet's harsh environment, as well as access to base building, notably to freighters, the vast starships that essentially act as giant portable bases are no longer the domain of the super rich, but will arrive early on as a freebie. That's important, as No Man's Sky places renewed emphasis on freighters, improved visions of these with better stats, there's an S there for some reason, better stats can be redesigned so that customizable areas, now basically a large hangar waiting to be filled with rooms, are front and center, giving a much greater sense of ownership and personalization. Additionally, your freighter is where you'll encounter the new frigate system. This wasn't a feature I saw myself during the playtime, but is described as something like Monster Hunter's Palico system. You can buy freighters up to 50 in a fleet. 50 in a fleet. We saw something like that in the trailer, which will be visible around your freighter. Just like we see in the game now, all those things in there, but they're much cooler now. And each can have its own specializations. Frigates are are sent on procedurally generated missions which play out in real time. You can go and follow them across the galaxy, or simply let them complete their mission, reaping the rewards of a successful adventure. So, if you send these things out on a mission, they're really going out and doing something. They're doing it. Like, it's not just disappearing and then coming back after a timer and saying, "Hey, we did it. Oh, here's a report." No, you could literally go with it and follow it and watch it do its thing. So that's super cool. Freighters are also home to the procedurally generated multiplayer quest system. Now you're able to form wings and set out across the galaxy, working together to complete the likes of dogfighting missions and more. And speaking of multiplayer, it's impressive just how well integrated it is, feeling like a natural extension of the experience rather than something awkwardly bolted onto the existing core. Resource gathering no longer feels quite so much of a chore when you've up to 3 other friends in a party. Creative collaboration on building projects and the likes is a joy. Ooh. And simply exploring the galaxy with friends in tow makes for a much less lonely place, and there are plenty of well-considered touches too, such as being able to mark points of interest for others to see and easily dropping resources straight into a friend's inventory. There you go. Player-made bounties. Hey, if you go take this dude out, I'll give you 100,000 nanites. Whatever. And of course, with restrictions lifted in terms of base size and placement, you can now build anywhere on the planet. There's much greater scope for creativity. What's more, you can finally have multiple bases, meaning that it's no longer necessary to undo all your previous work if you find an appealing new planet on your travels and want to establish a new home. Yes. Even a relatively brief time with Next impresses, with its procession of subtle adjustments, quality of life features, and a bigger addition such as multiplayer. Although it's hard to tell if the game's waiting has been shifted enough to move its focus away from sometimes fiddly survival and resource gathering core loops that puts off some at launch. This is written really weird. Awesome. No, you're just reading it stupid and making up words. Answers to these questions will come in time. And speaking of things to come, this is awesome. Listen to this. I think this is where they're going to talk about it right here. Hello Games has one last surprise in the form of its post-launch plans for Next. With 3 massive updates under its belt, the team is keen to adopt a schedule of smaller, regular updates to ensure a consistent run of new experiences. To that end, it's implementing something akin to a live events program. Oh, this is so cool, in which players can work to achieve certain community goals in order to earn a second currency that can be spent in a new in-game reward shop. This currency, and Hello is keen to stress that this is all free and that there will be no microtransactions. Hear that? No microtransactions, and can be used to purchase the likes of emotes, customization parts, and eventually unique ships and vehicles. So, we can purchase emotes in the game. Customization parts for ships? Customization parts, ships, and maybe exosuit, and eventually unique ships and vehicles. Oh my god, they're going to be, oh my. Calm down. That's still not all, though. It continues. This will be joined by a new galaxy map system, enabling players to scrutinize No Man's Sky from afar. It's a way of highlighting just how much of a living, changing space it is, thanks in a large part to the tireless efforts of the game's remarkably engaged community. It will show the likes of galactic hubs and just how far afield the surrounding systems have been explored, as well as player discoveries and even community-provided points of interest, whether these can be screenshots, stories, or poems. What? Whether these be screenshots, stories, or poems. Oh my god, I'm so taken back right now. It certainly seems that Hello Games' efforts over the last year have brought significantly more scope, scale, and depth to No Man's Sky's galaxy, and I can't wait to see and share more. There is more as well. Sean Murray in another article says, with Next, I think there's a moment reasonably early on within the first 10 to 15 hours where I hope the player feels overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that there is to do. They're like, I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to be doing base building right now, or whether I'm supposed to be building up my fleet that I just started, or whether I'm supposed to be doing the story, or whether I'm supposed to be hiring NPCs or whatever. Ooh, hire NPCs. If people feel overwhelmed like that, it's a lovely complaint to get about No Man's Sky. If they are overwhelmed by the amount of stuff they can do, you saw that in comments a bunch about like Atlas Rises when it came out. That is more true now. Okay, so next question he has here is, Sean, am I going to get killed by pirates, by human player pirates who hate me and my freighter? Is that a thing I am opting into? See if these came out this year and that was a game where there was a big conversation around it. Sean Murray says, you can opt out of it. You probably don't need to worry about it as much as you would in something like Sea of Thieves. The galaxy is very big and the player base is big but spread apart. People can choose to jump into other players' games, and there are shortcuts to do that. I've seen how there is shortcuts to do that. And yes, drop in, drop out multiplayer for any of you that are wondering. We want to bring people together. Also, PvP isn't the focus of the game. It's not very this sounds bad, but it's purposeful. It's not very rewarding. That was a very conscious decision. If you were doing that, you're not having necessarily a super exciting time. It actually started with no PvP in, and it felt weird to have a ship and not be able to shoot your friend or whatever, or have a gun and not be able to shoot them. And also, it makes the universe feel more real. People are worried about it. You're sitting there, am I just going to get shot by another human? You can already get shot by pirates, but it's just a nice feeling to thinking that guy who's attacking me might be a real person. That's a neat moment. It's starting to rain here very heavily, and I'm not sure if the microphone is picking it up. Austin asked more questions here about multiplayer. There's that old Chris Livingston blog series called Hey, Are You Cool? That was about the moment in games like DayZ when you see another player and you're like, are you cool? Is this going to happen? So I'm excited to have that experience. Sean Murray replies by saying, I had this happen playing the other day, and this is probably a reflection of how No Man's Sky is and the sedateness of it all. When you go into a space station, there's this new marketplace, which makes buying ships and upgrades a lot more clear, and it's much more open, and there's a lot of NPCs around. What? So, I'm walking up, and there's this NPC at the shop. I go to talk to the shopkeeper, who is also an NPC, and then there's this NPC at the shop who is a real person. I'm just losing my shit over this, laughs. In any other game, that would be nothing. What am I doing? You're a real person. Maybe this is just me, and it probably is, but no part of me wanted to kill that person, and that person didn't try to kill me. It's a cool, it's too cool a moment. You're like, fuck. What do we do? Is this Sean Murray cursing like this? And we actually had a weird, so what do we do moment. We're like, let's just go down to the planet and build a base to commemorate this. And then we did that, and then it felt a bit awkward, and we went, anyways, see you. Yeah, bye. It was a cool moment. It was a cool story. That's the kind of thing that where with occasional multiplayer, I see that bringing not, oh my God, I'm just being attacked constantly. I think that it's reasonably indicative of what you'll see at launch. The next question here is really funny. Austin says, there's all that community stuff in terms of people building galactic hubs, and I just sit there and read about this news about Cafe 42 being overrun by a terrible streamer. talking about you. They're talking about you, Serious Gamer X or Serious X Gamer. So there will be, I imagine, player-organized hubs of activity where that stuff could be more and more. And then he responds by saying, but just to be super clear, when you're playing No Man's Sky, this is not an MMO. You are not meeting hundreds of people. There's 4 people on the cover of the box. It's teams of 4 that you gather up in. Most of the time, if you play multiplayer at all, you will be playing with your 3 other friends in a crew joined together, and you play together. That's where it makes the most sense. You're playing, building a base, all that kind of stuff. You're not all congregating in the one place and having some sort of mass experience. You will occasionally come across other people, and that will more than likely really happen when somebody teleports to your base or they choose to jump into your random player's game and meet up in that way. They purposely choose, I want to meet someone random. So does that mean, okay, so is... so maybe, okay, so there on the guy's video I was watching, there was 16 spots, but Sean Murray's saying that there's 4 people, but then he's saying on occasion you can meet someone random. So is that saying that could add a 5th person in there? I don't know. That's not clear. So Austin then asked, but are there hooks for that in the game? Yeah, otherwise it just doesn't happen. But we are doing community events post-launch. We're gonna start doing weekly updates with content and community missions and things like that, but that's more supporting something that you've probably seen the community already doing. Yeah, but with 16 people. There's a website that we're launching that will show people where hubs and factions are and how much they've explored the game and stuff like that. That's mainly if you are interested in that side of the game. We're supporting that loads more, but not through, you know, some sort of MMO or something like that. Multiplayer is really about you and your buddies playing, or as you're just playing normally, ambiently, occasionally jumping into a game. And so here is a little bit more on the updates. Well, I don't know why they call them updates, but events, rather. Following the recent release of No Man's Sky, next update, Hello Games will introduce weekly updates to the game with a focus on community challenges. The updates will take the form of events or missions with the item rewards offered for those who will take part in them. As creator Sean Murray described it to IGN, this is not a loot box thing. It's not a microtransaction thing. It's 100% free. This first weekly update is currently expected to launch a week after next releases on July 24th. The emphasis seems to be on getting players to somewhere in the game's galaxy rather than complete a rote activity, a move Murray says was inspired by the community, which has been organizing in-game events and meetups itself for some time. Along with weekly updates, a new website called Galactic Atlas is expected to be launched today. The website will display in-game events on the galaxy map, as well as include portal glyph addresses that will allow players to visit specific locations without having to warp there manually. Alongside its function for challenges, the Galactic Atlas will allow players to create their own points of interest, pointing their fellow travelers to their favorite planets and bases, or anything else they might want to show off. Hello Games will recognize the community-created Galactic Hubs portion of the galaxy systematically explored by a large number of players on the Atlas leaderboards. Leaderboards will also be added for players with the most discoveries in a certain area. Hello Games is keen to point out that these weekly updates will come on top of rather than instead of the major free content updates No Man's Sky has received since release. But before those little weekly updates, there's the matter of a very big one next. The latest major update to the game will add four-player multiplayer, extended base building, a third-person viewpoint, character customization, and more. So I think it's safe to say that multiplayer is confirmed to be 4 players. 4-player groups. It sounds like I gotta start doing some searching for a squad. A squad of 3 Cobros. It's super exciting, guys. Super exciting. That's there's probably 10 more articles out there, 10 more, maybe even more than that. They're coming out of left and right field everywhere. And but is going back to the gameplay, you are not going to be disappointed. I was sitting there trying to look at it. I couldn't tell if the planets were actually in orbit or doing actual rotation, and I couldn't tell. I would need more time to be able to tell, but it did not look like it. That's not confirmed. The guy who was playing, he didn't have a lot of patience, so he might not have watched it all the way, or he might not have, not watched it all the way, but looked at it long enough. So it's still a possibility. I'm just not sure 100% just yet, but it did not look like it. I'll know better once I get the game in my hands. I'm supposed to be able to look at the game a little bit more later today, and we'll find out. We will find out. But exciting times, guys. Exciting times. A new website, community events, weekly community events. I can't even grasp that. I don't even know what that really means. I can't wait to see what it means. Earn cash for purchasing in the future ships, emotes, customization stuff for I don't know what. But this is amazing. Tell me down below, guys, are you excited about this? I sure as heck am. As always, I love you guys. I will see you all in the next video. Until next time.